Mr. H here. So good to see you again. Today we're going to keep on talking about music form. We talked about our form last 2 weeks ago, actually. So now we're going to bring it back and learn about a new form called Rondo form. But before we get into that, I want to see if you guys remember, what is form? When we say form, what does that mean? Well, when we talk about music, its form is how the music is organized. You may have heard terms like chorus and verse with music, and these are parts of the music's form. Sometimes when you talk about music, you're like, oh, I liked what he said in that verse, or that chorus is really, I like that chorus. Those are parts of a music form. When we talk about form, we usually give sections of music letter names like section A and section B, etc. These sections are when the music sounds different from one section to the next, or when the words in a song change. Now, we talked about this a little bit before when we learned about a different type of form, but we're going to learn about this form called rondo. Now, what is a rondo? Well, a rondo is a type of musical form. In a rondo, the musicians play a section to start, then then go to a different section, then go back to the first one. Usually a rondo has a form that works like this: section A, section B, go back to section A, go to section C, go back to section A, go to section B, and go to section A. So there's a lot of repeating. You hear a section at the very beginning, and that's the one you're going to hear the most. If you want to think about it with the pictures, the triangle is like section A. So triangle sounds a certain way. Then they play something that sounds different. That's section B, or the red circle. Then they go back and play section A again, the green triangle. Then they play a whole different section you never heard before. That'd be like the blue parapenta, the blue shape there. I'm not good at shapes. And that would be section C. Then you go back to the triangle with section A. Then you go back to section B, and then back to section A again. Sometimes you have even more sections like D, E, or F. Sometimes it just goes A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A. But that's what it's called a rondo. Think of it like things going around, a rondo. You go around O back to A. That's how I always remember it. Now, we're going to be hearing a special kind of rondo, and it's probably going to be a song you guys have heard before. But before we do that, we got to talk about this famous guy right here. This is probably someone you've heard of before, and he has better hair than I do. This is Ludwig van Beethoven. How many people have heard of Beethoven before, or at least heard the name? Okay, seems like a few of you have. Well, I'm telling you a little bit about Beethoven. He was born in the year 1770, so a long time ago, and he died in the year 1827. He was a composer and a performer from Germany. He wrote many types of music, like symphonies, which were big, big works with a bunch of orchestral musicians, concertos, which is when one person plays an instrument really, really well and kind of shows off. And he even did operas. When he was a performer, he also played on the piano and violin, but later on, he just wrote a lot of music. In fact, when he got older, he even wrote music when he was deaf, which means he couldn't hear. How hard do you think it was for someone to write really good music when he couldn't hear it? That had to be really tricky, but he did it, and he did it really well. So that's Beethoven, and we're going to talk about his piece called For Elise. How many people have heard this piece before? Some of you have, some of you haven't. Some of you may have heard it but not known the name, so we're going to talk about it here. For Elise is a piano piece that Beethoven wrote. It is one of his most popular works, and many people learn to play it on the piano. For Elise means for Elise in German. So many people think he wrote it for a woman named Elise, but we don't know who Elise is. It's one of the biggest mysteries. So we think that when Beethoven wrote this piece, he really loved someone, but he couldn't use their name. It was just kind of a weird thing at the time. So he made the piece called For Elise, so he can try and give this to that person, or at least let the person know that he cared. But we don't know who Elise is. We haven't really found out either. But it's still a nice piece of music, and it's also a rondo. So it is a rondo, which means it uses the rondo form. In this case, the sections go like this: A, B, A, C, and A. A is always going to be the one we start on. Then when the song changes, it goes to B, then we go back to A, then we go to C, and then we go to A. So we're actually going to listen to all of For Elise. And I want you to try and figure out where you think some of these sections are. So when we are doing this, we're going to hold up hand sign language for A, B, and C. So if we think we're on part A, we hold up our hand like this. This is sign language for A. So if we think we're in the A section, that's the A section. When we go to B, we're going to switch our hands up like this. This is the B section. And when we go to C, we're going to make a C with our hands. That's the C section. Now I'm going to be doing this also with you guys so we can take a look at where we are. Remember, I'm going to give you a free one. We start on A. We always start on A. So we're always going to be starting on A. Let's see where we go. Here we go. Play the music. Remember, we're in A right now. It's really long. I think anyway. Sounds different. I think this is where B starts. Right. That sounds familiar. Back at A. Nope, this is different. Not the same place, so this must be C. And we're back to A. All right, let's put our hands down and shake them out a little. I know we had our hands up for a while. First off, how many people, now that they've heard this piece of music, recognize what it is? Few of you do? Very good, very good. All right, now let's think back to what we've heard. We all know that beginning, do 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 do. That was the A section. It's the one that he starts on, and it's also the longest section. He plays a lot of things that sound very similar to it. Then when we got to the B section, the music sounded happier. You know, it wasn't do 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 do. It was brighter. It was happier. It also went a little bit faster. There were lots of notes happening at the same time. So that was B. It was a really different section. Then it went back to A again because we heard do 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 do. We heard that again. But then it started getting a little bit louder, but also sounded a little scary a little bit after that. So that wasn't an A section. That wasn't our B section. That was C. That was something completely different. So it was a new section, and then we went back to A again. So that makes For Elise a rondo. Now there are a lot of other rondos out there. If you go on YouTube and you just look up classic rondos, you'll find a lot of them. Maybe even some of them that you heard before and didn't know about it. But they're pretty fun to listen to, and they're pretty fun to figure out where all the sections are. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Hope you had fun. Until I see you again, have a good time. See you.